As electric trikes become more mainstream and gain traction with everyone from older riders to younger cargo carriers, interesting low-cost options continue to flood the market. So I wanted to check out just how much E-Trike you can get if you're shopping on a super low budget.
Hey everyone, Micah here with Electrek, and today we're reviewing the Viribus SC5 electric trike. Come along with us while we check it out.
This is the Viribus SC5, a fat tire electric trike that I initially expected to be a pretty basic budget model, but after spending some real time with it, I think it offers a lot more than I bargained for. It's not the most refined E-Trike out there, but it does have a lot going for it. As usual, let's start off with the specs. The SC5 runs a 500 watt front hub motor that peaks at 750 watts. Now that might not sound like wild power, but in the real world, it actually feels plenty strong on flat ground. The issue is on hills. You may start to have traction issues with a front hub motor since the rear gets more weighted when you climb up a hill, or of course anytime you're on slippery ground like wet grass or leaves. But as long as you're basically just cruising on nice flat paths like I am here, you probably won't notice the front versus rear motor placement too much. It's on that loose terrain or when climbing up a steep hill that you're going to notice the traction issues of a front hub motor even more. I was cruising at around 20 miles per hour on throttle alone often, so the motor obviously has some decent power to it, and I could get up to 24 miles per hour when using the pedal assist. There's no torque sensor or anything here, so it's fairly basic pedal assist, but you do at least get 7 speeds to choose from on the mechanical gears there, so you're not ghost pedaling at the top end. The battery on the bike is a 48 volt 15 amp hour pack, giving you 720 watt hours of capacity. It's mounted in the down tube for some pretty good weight distribution. It's not stuck out back in the rear basket or anything, and Viribus claims a throttle range of 38 miles or a pedal assist range of up to 65 miles. Now, if you are blasting that throttle at full speed a lot, you're not going to hit those top numbers. But in my testing, I was still able to get into the high 20s to low 30s with mixed use, which is still going to be plenty for most trike riders. And here's the thing, trikes, they're not made for racing, right? They're made for cruising around, usually pretty leisurely. So if you dial it back to 12 or 15 miles an hour, you'll squeeze out a lot more range. And so that kind of slower cruising is also just really where trikes like to live best for stability. Now speaking of stability, this thing is super comfortable to ride. The plush seat has a wide cushion and a supportive backrest that makes longer trips feel relaxing instead of rigid. There's a front suspension fork to help with those bumps, and the 20 by 3 inch fat tires do a lot of the work for smoothing out the path ahead of you. That being said, there's still a limit to how much off the beaten path riding you can do before you start getting bounced around.
It may have fat tires, but it's not the best at off-roading.
Trikes are super popular because they're generally considered to be more stable than bicycles since you don't have to balance or put your feet down when you come to a stop. However, the stability benefits are called into question at higher speeds, when sharp turns made quickly on a trike can feel less stable, since you're not able to lean into the turns like you can on a bicycle. So, like on all three-wheelers, you have to be careful when you're turning at higher speeds, which is even more critical on a trike like this one that lets you go at speeds up to 20 miles per hour on throttle. I always recommend riding a bit slower into the turns on trikes, and even lowering your seat slightly to drop your center of gravity if you can. That's how I set up mine, and it made the ride feel a lot more stable. And when I have a lot of cargo, especially heavy cargo or cargo mounted up high, I'll lower my seat even more, so I'm not making matters worse with an even higher center of gravity. Though if you go too low on the seat, then pedaling starts to become less comfortable. So be careful with going too low there, unless you're a throttle-only rider, and then it's just like a game of limbo. How low can you go? And of course, now let's talk about that subject of cargo. There in the back of this trike, you're seeing over 100 pounds of portable power stations in the basket, which is pushing the limit of 110 pound capacity rated for that basket. That being said, I think I'm still pretty far within the trike's 395 pound weight capacity for the total payload. Now I really love that rear basket because it has two features I almost never see. The first is that it has a tailgate that opens up, meaning you don't have to lift heavy things as high to get them in. And secondly, it's got these wing platforms on either side over the rear wheels to turn the basket into a sort of flatbed type structure. I'm not saying you should move a washing machine on it, but you could carry big bulky things like that more easily thanks to this design. And if you want to get custom, you could take like a big piece of plywood or something, put it across the top there, and give yourself a real big flatbed platform. Now finishing up around the bike, we've got mechanical disc brakes on surprisingly small 160mm rotors. And while I'm not a fan of mechanical brakes on trikes, since the cables tend to stretch more, quickly stopping on a heavy trike, at least they do give us these parking brakes on the levers, which are an important piece since there's no kickstand on a trike to hold it in place when you park on a slight incline. We also get LED lighting, an adjustable stem on the handlebars, and a color LCD display. All told, for $1,299, you get some decent features and some good performance here. And that's basically my verdict. The Viribus SC5 isn't trying to be a high-end electric cargo trike. It knows what it is, a capable, affordable, and approachable three-wheeler designed for everyday folks who want stability, comfort, and practicality without spending a fortune. And in that role, I think it performs really well. It's fairly priced for what you get, and while the front motor is less elegant and we get some more basic parts like those mechanical brakes, the trike will certainly open the door for folks who want to get out there on three wheels but can't afford a fancier model. If you've been curious about e-trikes but didn't want to spend $2 or $3 grand, this could be a great way to get started on a budget. Whether you're replacing short car trips, hauling gear, or just cruising the neighborhood, the SC5 has a lot to offer, and it made me a believer in budget-friendly electric trikes.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that review of the Viribus SC5. If you did, why don't you give this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future electric vehicle videos. We'll see you here next time.